Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review, and in this video I'm going to review Partners in Hell by Selofan. This is one of the 3 new releases from Fabrika Records, and it was one of those Darkwave albums that I was super excited and I was looking forward to it, certainly more than the Lebanon Hanover album that came out the same day, which I made a review of this album. I think it's a decent project, but this one in particular was an album that I was definitely much more excited for, because I would find that Selofan have a very intriguing sense of artistic progression with every single album they do, and I do admire how unique and expressive they are with what they do with their art form, and I do find that this Greek duo is one of the most intriguing Darkwave projects to emerge in recent years. They have more of like a certain image with really theatrical performances. Like, I remember that when I saw Selofan perform live, it was one of my favorite live experiences, because their performances would just be so varied, would just be so theatrical, and just create so many great images, which in my opinion is really important and impactful when it comes to live shows. So before all of that, I actually didn't get into Selofan with the greatest impressions. Listening to some of their first albums, I wasn't really feeling them all that much. I would definitely admire how much of a unique and intriguing project they would be in the Darkwave scene, with their whole image, the addition of saxophone in instrumentation, and also with the multilingual content containing lyrics in Greek, English, and German. But when it comes to some of the ideas in the instrumentals, I wasn't really feeling the sound and the production all that much in their first albums. I thought they were just pretty okay or decent. All of this changed though when I listened to their last album, Vitrioli, which was made 2 years ago. This is the album where I saw Selofan finally finding their signature sound. It was easily their most standout moment, with the greatest amount of highlights, and an album that showed a great artistic development compared to everything else they would do. And so I was definitely excited to listen to Partners in Hell, considering that I knew that this album was going to come out like a long time ago. And I would say that I'm so amazed with the overall result of this new album. For me, Partners in Hell is the greatest album from Selofan so far. This is their magnum opus. This is without a doubt by far my favorite Darkwave project from this year, and also my favorite Greek release. If there is one Greek release out of this year that matters, is this one. Partners in Hell improves even further from the signature sound of Selofan, the one that would be that standout in all of those years. This is their greatest artistic development, with the best instrumentation and the greatest compositions from like every other album. And I overall find that the sound and the whole pacing and structure on these songs is extremely well done. And for me, one of the greatest characteristics on this album instrumentally is how it would constantly add different sounds that would further enhance the experience, because the thing is that we're mostly talking about a minimal wave album. In its whole structure and the overall instrumentation, it's mostly a minimal album. The thing is that you might be halfway through a song and think that you have an overall understanding of how the rest of the song is going to go, but then you would have moments where halfway through the song you would have additional synth passages that would add so much to the song and just really manage to enhance the experience. This is a great example with the first track, The Grey Garden. Instrumentally, this is such an amazing and minimal track, but the additional piano melodies towards the second half of this track just add so much more to the experience, and it just fits so well with the whole aesthetic, and it just goes the track to another level. Also for me, one of the greatest characteristics about this track is the bass switch ups, which in my opinion is a really amazing touch. There are also so many other moments where we see this genius approach on structure, but in my opinion the greatest result is with the track of Deiner Haut, which is the final track, fits amazingly as a final track, as it's like the most intense and the most standout moment compared to anything else that would go into a more low-key and moody approach. And it was also the second teaser track with an amazing video clip attached to it, which was extremely creative. And what I have to say about Auf Deiner Haut is that this is possibly my favorite track from Selofan, like ever. I'm in love with this track. I'm amazed by its fast-paced energy. The saxophone parts are gorgeous. I would hope there would be more parts like this in the rest of the album. However, those few times we get a saxophone part, it always sounds gorgeous and ethereal. The overall pacing, the aesthetic, the writing of this song is just amazing from start to finish. But like I said, it's great how you have an understanding of how the rest of the track is going to go, but then you're halfway towards the song and it just hits you with those additional scenes that are just so well enhanced into this track. Also, vocally speaking, Joanna's voice in this track is amazing, and I love all of those different vocal inflections and those effects that would come out in certain occasions. And I would say that Joanna's vocals throughout this whole album would sound more dark and moody than ever before. I'm in love with so many of the vocal passages over here. For me, one of the greatest highlights when it comes to those vocal inflections is actually the first teaser track, There Must Be Somebody, which in my opinion it has an amazing instrumental, one of the greatest instrumentals throughout this whole album. It took me a while to really appreciate it, but this track has definitely grown on me. The one thing that I would say slightly drags this track down a bit is where you would have those repeated vocal harmonies, which is something that it also happens with other occasions in this album, and in my opinion it makes for one of those few moments that I didn't really enjoy as much throughout this whole album. For example, there is the track Absolutely Absent, which it would be one of my favorite tracks over here because the instrumental in this is amazing and I like the overall pacing of this track. However, you have those moments where Joanna just repeats, I'm about to lose my mind, to lose my mind, to lose my mind, and it's done in a way that I wouldn't necessarily say I'm that much of a fan. So you have moments like this that didn't really click on me as much as I would like to. But still, other than that, I think vocally and instrumentally speaking, this is the most standout album Selofan have done ever. There are also tracks like Almost Nothing that further enhances in this beautiful and moody dark aesthetic. Also, the track Nichts might not be one of my favorite moments, but I find that some of the piano melodies are really gorgeous. And the other standout moment for me would be the track Happy Consumers, which is definitely one of the most unique tracks over here because it has this really haunting and dark synths to it, combined with those sort of spacey sound effects. It is definitely the most unsettling track over here, and I really like the way it's all put together. And there is also the track Metallic Isolation, which in my opinion has a really great chorus to it. The only two moments that I didn't really care for in this album were the tracks Zusammen and 4 AM. Now, with track Zusammen is the longest track over here, and as far as I like it instrumentally, the overall pacing on this track is really slow, and you also have this final 1 minute where you have this abrupt conclusion that doesn't really feel that much necessary. And also, like 4 AM is a bit more of a forgettable song, but it still has its moments. Like, there is not a track over here that I didn't enjoy or that I would find that it was that much forgettable. I really enjoyed this album. This is the duo at their peak. This album is certainly the essential Darkwave and minimal wave experience of 2020. And so for me, especially with this album in particular, Selofan Selofan land as being one of the greatest and one of the most creative Darkwave projects to emerge in recent years. I'm going to give Partners in Hell an 8 out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it, dislike it, why, and what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.